You know, every great legend has a beginning, right? A story that kind of sets the stage for everything that comes after. Today, we are diving deep into the VMax Cats Chronicles to really get to the bottom of where it all started, the origin of a true hero, and the world he literally built from scratch.
Our story kicks off with this really simple, but honestly super powerful line from the source material. So, what's the deal? What made Grandpa George so extraordinary? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go way back. Back to when he was young, in a time of serious conflict and unbelievable courage. See, before he was Grandpa George, or even Mayor George, he was a warrior. And this first chapter of his life is what forged the legend that would define not just him, but the entire future of his town, Felininopolis.
But here's the thing about George's legend. It wasn't just built on being tough. Sure, he was a fearless warrior, no doubt about it, with just unmatched courage. But his real superpower? It was his mind. He was this incredibly cunning leader who could outthink his enemies, which made him a huge role model for everyone fighting with him.
And who were these enemies he was outthinking? Well, get this. Giant rats. I'm not kidding. They were terrorizing the whole region. So George, he leads this whole company of Maine Coons against them, fighting to protect the innocent and just bring back some peace. This was the big conflict that really shaped his early life.
And this is where his cleverness really shines. His greatest military achievement wasn't just winning some random battle. No, it was a total strategic masterpiece. He actually discovered the hidden enemy lair inside an old mill. This allowed him to strike right at the heart of the rat operation and finally liberate the town of Felininopolis for good.
But, you know, a hero story is never just about the war, is it? George's life was also shaped by this incredible love, a love that would bring him so much joy, but in the end, just devastating heartbreak.
So picture this. George is on leave back in Felininopolis, and that's where he meets Sarah. And they were just perfect for each other. He was the celebrated war hero, and she was this brave, devoted cat who was basically the heart and soul of the town. It didn't take long at all for them to fall deeply in love. And he made her a promise. It's the kind of promise every soldier dreams of making. I'm gonna finish this war, I'm gonna come back home to you, and we are going to build a life together in peace. That was the future they had all planned out.
But the war just dragged on for another whole year. And when George finally returned, ready to make good on that promise, Sarah was gone. I mean, can you even imagine? The devastation must have been absolutely crushing. But in that exact same moment of soul-crushing grief, he finds out he's a father. Sarah had died giving birth to their son, Olivier. The future he dreamed of was gone, but in his son, he found a brand new reason to keep going.
So what do you do with that kind of loss? If you're George, you channel all of that grief into creating something. He decided he was going to build that peaceful world he promised Sarah, not for them, but for their son and for everyone in Felininopolis. The townspeople, so grateful for everything he'd done, elected him mayor. And it turns out he was just as brilliant in peace as he was cunning in war. Under his leadership, Felininopolis was completely transformed. He opened new schools, built a modern hospital, and established a booming port for trade. He was building the world that he and Sarah had dreamed of. And really, that became his true legacy. The peace and safety that the next generation of cats just kind of took for granted. That was a gift forged by his sacrifice and his incredible dedication. He never remarried, you know. He devoted the rest of his life to just two things, his son and his city.
So, the family line continues. George's son, Olivier, he grows up to be this wise, well-educated cat. He ends up marrying a really cheerful cat named Lily, and together, they bring the next generation into the world. And that son's name was Max. And let me tell you, this little guy, this rascal, he brought this whole new wave of joy into the family home. He was especially the apple of his grandfather George's eye.
You know how George's whole thing was courage? Well, for Max, it was all about curiosity, an endless, boundless curiosity. The kid was always exploring, always poking his nose into every single nook and cranny.
And as you can probably guess, it's that very curiosity that kicks off the final act of this origin story. The family's living in this warm, peaceful home, but a secret from the past was just about to bubble to the surface.
Because Max was so quiet and curious, he started to notice things that other cats missed. He got this feeling that just beneath the calm, happy surface of their lives, something else was going on. He started to wonder, Was this peaceful world his grandpa built really what it seemed to be?
And here's how it went down. One evening, long after everyone else was asleep, Max's curiosity just got the best of him. He snuck out of his room and overheard this hushed, serious conversation between his grandfather and some mysterious visitor. He only caught a couple of words, but one of them stopped him in his tracks.
Treasure. That's it. Just that one word, hanging in the quiet night air. What on earth could that mean in this peaceful little town built by a retired war hero?
Now, for a super curious kitten like Max, hearing a word like treasure, oh, that was like lighting a fuse. It completely changed everything for him. He knew right then and there that he had to find out more. He had to uncover the secret his grandfather was hiding.
And that's where this part of the story leaves us. The hero's past created a peaceful present, but that past, it's still holding on to some secrets. What kind of treasure could a retired war hero possibly be hiding? And what is Max going to find when he starts digging? Well, the story, as they say, is far from over.